Massimino back with us. Thanks very much, and good morning to you. It's morning over here in India. There have been a couple of delays. That's not unusual in space flight, but are you confident on the basis of what you're reading and what you're hearing, weather-wise and tech-wise, that it's all systems go at this stage?
Well, you never really know, and I apologize. I couldn't hear you for a while. My first name's Mike. You can call me that. Anyway, I was down for the launch a couple of weeks ago. I was down there hoping to get to see the crew launch. Peggy Whitson is a very good friend of mine. She was my astronaut classmate, and I was down at that launch 2 weeks ago, ready to see it, and we kept thinking we were going to see it, and then we didn't. So as far as my confidence level is, as you get closer, the chances of going are greater, but you never know until the rocket lights.
Right. And could you tell us a little bit about Peggy Whitson, your experience and having worked with her?
Mm-hmm. No, she's great. She's been a good friend of mine. I've known her nearly 30 years, and we met as astronaut classmates back in 1996. And she's very accomplished as an astronaut. She has more time in space than any American. She's commanded the International Space Station. She was also the first civilian to be the chief of the astronaut office. So she was my boss for a while too, and she's a very good friend. She's a very accomplished astronaut, really good leader, a lot of fun to be around. And the crew is great. I mean, they were all real astronauts. This isn't a tourist flight. Each of them are real astronauts from their own countries. So I think it's a very exciting group of people, and all the countries involved, including, of course, India, should be very excited about the mission coming up. And hopefully they'll launch in a couple hours.
And the launch itself, there's obviously tension attached to that. The first couple of minutes are critical. Mm-hmm. Could you run us through the process of the launch itself? Let's say the last 1 hour, and then the launch itself. What exactly happens?
Well, it's a lot of checking things, making sure the weather holds where it's supposed to be, making sure the spacecraft is working, the rocket, everything checks out. The crew will be fine. They'll be there inside the spaceship waiting. Probably talking to each other, getting very excited, but concentrating on what's going to be happening and hoping for the best. Most of the work is done by the ground crew, the people who are getting ready to launch the rocket. And then the countdown just keeps going, and hopefully they don't meet any issues with the spaceship or weather or anything else, and they'll be able to launch on time. And when the spaceship comes alive and they start moving, it's 8.5 minutes to orbit. The G forces build up. They'll get about 3 Gs, which means 3 times their body weight. They'll feel that in their chest for a few minutes, and then the engines are cut and they'll be in orbit and get ready to rendezvous and dock with the space station.
Pallav?
Mike, there were issues on the rocket. There was an oxygen leak, and there were several small issues. As an astronaut, once you have been told that they have been fixed, are you so sure that everything will be all right? After all, it is rocket science and thousands of moving parts on the rocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think being an astronaut requires a lot of trust, and getting to know the people that are working in the program. They get to know you, you get to know them. They want you to be safe. They want the mission to be successful, but they really want the people to be safe. And you need to trust. You need to trust the equipment and the people and the team and your crewmates and your training. And that's really what it comes down to, is building up that trust over the years for these folks over the past year, working with the teams, getting to know each other. But yeah, no, absolutely. I trusted totally in the control center and in the team that was getting to launch me the times that I went into space, and I trusted them totally. And I think these are good teams, the SpaceX, NASA team, and all the different different agencies involved here really want the astronauts to be safe. So as an astronaut, when your team tells you the rocket's ready to go and everything is fixed, yeah, you trust in them and you believe them and you're ready to go.
How frustrating is it to wait indefinitely? There have been 5 or 6 delays already, and then you're prepped, you're ready to go, and then things sometimes get delayed. Weather, tech, you come out. In this case, there were substantial delays because of a liquid oxygen leak, which needed to be fixed properly. ISRO said that they wanted a proper fix, not something necessarily just done easily on the pad. And so for crew members, that must be really frustrating because you don't really know when you're going to blast off, right?
You never know. And once you enter quarantine, that's kind of like the big mark. You get in there about a week ahead of time, and you stay in there as long as you're within a week of launch. So my flights, my first flight was, we went into quarantine. We were delayed one day. My second flight, we went off on time, so we weren't delayed at all. We had other delays before the flight, though. I was delayed for a year pretty much before I went into quarantine. And that was kind of okay. I think the difference here is that they went into quarantine, which means they're living in a separate facility at the Kennedy Space Center in that area. They have limited access to people. They have to, they want to stay healthy, so they're limited access to people who might have germs. Everyone has to be checked out by the doctor. And you're kind of out of society. You're kind of living off, in this quarantine facility for typically about a week. But once you get delayed, you have to stay there. And if you don't get delayed more than a week, you're going to stay there. And so I think that's what happened to them, is that they kept getting delayed a couple days at a time. So they never left quarantine. So I think it probably was a little frustrating for them. I did exchange some text messages with my friend Peggy Whitson to see how she's doing. And she's doing absolutely fine. I think that's part of being an astronaut, is that you understand that this can happen and you don't get upset by it. You don't complain about it. You just say, okay, it's a couple more days on Earth, a couple more days to see my family, to talk to my crew, to watch movies, to do whatever they're going to do. So I think, they probably want to go, but I think they're making the best of it and understand that, the sooner you go to space, the sooner you come back. So, in some ways, there's no real rush to get there, but I think they're all ready to go.
No, but I'm just curious, half a sec, Pallav, you said meeting families, but then if they're in quarantine, they aren't in physical proximity to each other, right? It's a bit of a distance.
Yeah, they're around each other. They can be around people who are checked out by the medical team. So, in other words, if you have a family member that's going to come and see you, or a friend that's going to come see you, they can't be ill. They'll get checked out by the doctor, and then they can come in contact with you. You can see them. So they can see people, but it's limited. It's not very many people, and there are not a lot of people around them. But they're instructors, they're good friends, some of their family members. Usually it's limited, one guest at a time. They're around other people, but they're not around crowds of people, and they're not out in the public. They're in the quarantine, so people come to them.
Astronaut Mike, yes, Commander Peggy Whitson is a seasoned astronaut, but we have 3 rookie astronauts on this flight. They've been 4 weeks in quarantine. Is that the longest period people have been in quarantine at the Kennedy Space Center? And what would have this quarantine done to their minds? Because they need to be mentally and physically fit to be able to undertake this lovely journey to space.
Yeah, they'll be fine. I don't know if it's a record or not. It's the longest one I've heard of. Typically when you get a launch delay, you get a launch delay for more than a week or so. If something's major, you typically don't get these couple days at a time. So this might be a record. I'm not sure. But I think they're perfectly fine. These are, even though they haven't been to space before, in my opinion, going to space doesn't make you an astronaut, and you're not you're an astronaut when you're ready to go to space. And I think these folks are professional astronauts, all of them. And so they understand from their training, their previous experiences in the military, whatever they've done before. They've been in these type of situations before. So I think they're perfectly fine. My time in quarantine, even though it was shorter than this, it's kind of a fun time. You're taken care of, you're eating well, you're exercising, you're around your friends, you're getting little things done as well. It gives you a little more time to prepare all those little things you may have not gotten a chance to do. So I think they're absolutely fine. I have no doubt that they're going to be ready.
All right. Well, we've got the first images of them getting out of that minivan and I suppose getting set to being kitted up ahead of the launch, which is in 3 hours, 41 minutes. Max, you would know better what's happening. Mike, you would know better what's happening right now. Where are they headed? I mean, they've obviously out of quarantine. I guess they're getting ready to be kitted up. Is that right?
Yeah, they're going to get up to go up to the launch pad, and they go into what we call the white room, which is where you get dressed into your space flight, into your spacesuit. So they'll be doing that one at a time and getting put into the spacecraft and getting everything checked out. And then as the timeline continues, they'll close the hatch and get ready to launch them.
All right. Thanks very much, Mike Massimino, very much for
pleasure.
joining us. former NASA astronaut and a good friend of Peggy Whitson, the commander of this mission.
Congratulations to all of India on this. I don't know if you can still hear.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much indeed.